Gianni Infantino. He's been chatting, hasn't he, about his grand plans going forward for world football?
Yeah, ruffling a few feathers, to say the least. Yesterday, he announced a series of plans that will transform the football calendar entirely. One of them, the big talking point, is a 32-team club World Cup to run every 4 years from 2025. Up to 16 European teams will be involved. We could see 4 Prem sides invited. A piece in the Telegraph by Tom Morgan says Premier League's fears over Club World Cup plan, saying basically Premier League executives are going to express these concerns over player welfare. With the packed fixture schedule. What do you think would be the negative side of this? How many problems would we see coming up from a Club World Cup?
Well, I don't really understand it. Like, when do they want to play it? Do we know that? Like, has that even been
Aren't
decided?
they using the March period?
But it will affect your domestic calendar.
Yeah, of course.
But
I don't think if you listen to his words, I don't think he really cares too much.
Well, no, I'm sure
Let's
he
get
doesn't.
on with it.
It's all about making money, isn't it, ultimately? It feels like it's a kind of European Super League, but we're just not calling it a European Super League. Yeah. I know there's other clubs involved in from around the world, but if you're only inviting a select few, it's a bit like the European Super League, but on a grander stage. I'm just... Personally, I think, oh, come on. This World Cup already has impacted our domestic schedule. And don't get me wrong, we've talked about how we enjoyed our experience out there. But I don't think we need to really add more hassles to our domestic schedule, personally.
Apparently it's been approved only by FIFA's council. And the FIFA are promising to reinvest 10 billion into the game from something like the Club World Cup, but that's just added on to that. But it seems like it's already facing a lot of backlash, the plans from the Premier League and executives.
Well, if we're not careful, our own domestic league, the Premier League, will suffer enormously.
Well, it will.
It's been pulled apart really from the last few years. And Champions League football's terrific. We have World Cups, and they're going to throw in a World Club Cup.
I just don't see the need for it, personally.
And it kind of suggests, when you go into the article a bit further, that it's kind of catering to this US audience again. It seems it will be handed to the US, away from Europe, but all these European teams are going to be involved. So it's kind of catering to that US audience.
And I wonder how much of a conversation they've had with all the top leagues across the world. Have the Premier League already given it an okay? If that's the case, then that means the top clubs have given it the okay.
Suggests they haven't delved that further into conversations. It says they've kind of still got to have conversations with the top European competitions as well as these player welfare groups. So it seems like they've just kind of said these plans without thinking of the backlash.
Without actually asking the teams involved if they want to do it. And that just all seems a little bit balmy. And as we were talking about earlier on, when we were talking to Alex Crook, who's out in Qatar, and he was at the briefing, who really cares about the Club World Cup unless you're in it? That's the other thing, isn't it? Unfortunately, I know it's an awful thing to say, but that has tended to be the case. It's only when your team's in it that you suddenly think, oh, we're going to be the Club World Cup champions if we can win it. But ultimately, do we remember who won it last year? Do we remember who won it the year before? All that sort of thing.
Yeah,
it doesn't really stand out. But that's maybe why FIFA want to make it into a bigger tournament so that it becomes more prestigious.